Obviously, physically and mentally, then you felt the benefits, but it has meant that there have been other guys that have been out there. They've been in the middle. They've had a lot of cricket. You haven't. Are you feeling ready in the right sort of nick to be going out there and facing international bowlers now?
Yeah, well, we've had a good weeks here. We've had quite a few training sessions. I've stuck my hand up to face a lot of our bowlers at all the net sessions. So get myself in a good place. And the most important thing is that I'm actually really excited for my cricket. I'm really buzzing to get out there. I'm excited for my training. I'm excited to keep learning. So it's a good place for me to be at mentally. So yeah, I think obviously not having game time is something, but however, mentally being a lot more refreshed is just as important for me.
And you mentioned game time there out in the middle and so on. England have been able to do that with a couple of intra-squad games. South Africa have been sort of training in different bubbles. They've had a couple of positive tests and so on. They've been players in isolation. Do you think England go into these matches in slightly better condition than South Africa in terms of their preparation?
I think obviously as far as preparation is concerned, yeah, we've had the benefit of being able to train as a full squad, being able to socialise as a full squad and be around each other all the time, where they've had a few issues. But like any tour, like any series we go into, we don't really worry too much about what they've been up to be honest. Even with the whole COVID stuff going on, we're staying well and truly out of it. We're just concentrating on what we need to concentrate on. And then once the games come along, then we can start kind of focusing in.
There's been some talk about opening partners for you in the T20. There's been Joss Buttler's obviously been playing there, but we've seen Ben Stokes playing the IPL as an opener. Do you have a preference? The leaning seems to be that Joss is going to stay there at the moment, but do you have a preference?
I do not have a preference, mate. Honestly, it's mad the amount of batters that our top 6 is quite frightening. Top 7, it's a great position for us to be in. Whatever team is picked on the day is the team that's picked on the day is the best team for the job. So I'm not fussed who I open with, whether I open, what goes on, what dynamics they want to go with. But it's a good position for us to be in leading into a World Cup.
And you mentioned the strength there of the batting lineup. Is this as difficult a team for people to get into as there is in world cricket at the moment with the amount of options that England have got?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think everyone poses a different threat, don't they? I think I think Sam Billings touched on it the other day in one of the articles I read about it being one of the hardest sports teams to infiltrate. It's got to be up there. I mean, we've the amount of players out here now, even with like Tom Banton, Tom Helm, they're just sitting as reserves, aren't they? And they've got frightening talent. So, like I said before, man, it's a beautiful position to be in. But yeah, spoiled for choice at the moment.
And you mentioned some of the guys who are sitting there as reserves, but Joe Root's not even in the T20 squad, but he's looking in good nick. Do you see him forcing his way back into perhaps looking ahead to the World Cup next year?
Well, you just know what you're going to get with Rooty, don't you? I think we played that inter-squad game the other day, and I said to Josh, he's just always batting. He's just always there, and you look out in the middle, he's always on 40. So I think you always know what you're going to get with Rooty. He's obviously full of class, so he'll do what he needs to do, mate. And I'll let the selectors do what they need to do.
And just on that, looking ahead to that World Cup, you guys are already looking now as you go into these matches against South Africa and looking ahead to what's coming up next year and playing for places and getting your minds right for that?
I think playing for places is quite a hard thing kind of to do. I think you've got to concentrate as an individual on that next performance. I think if you start worrying about playing for places, you start losing sight on what you're actually trying to achieve on that tour. If there's any players on this tour that are like, right, I need to play for my place, that's not what we're here to do. We're here to win the series. I think we've always done that. We've always done that over the years, has gone into each series and try to win each series, not worry about what's to come. But there's going to be a definite element for some players, I think, that are feeling the pressure. But yeah, I think everyone's just got to go out there with T20. You just got to go out there and express yourself and do your best.
Cheers for that, Jason. I'll let somebody see we've got a queue of people waiting to ask you questions. So thanks a lot for your time, and I'll let the others step in now. Thanks.
Thanks, Roger.
Okay, we'll go with Scott from TalkSport, please.
Hey, Johnny. Hope you're
Jason. I just mentioned Johnny Bairstow. That's right. Great start. Hey, Jason, you look at the openers. Ben Stokes opened in the IPL. You got Dawid, you got Johnny, you got yourself. How does that make you feel as an opener? Is it good that you're always being kept on your toes, or does that bring you more pressure knowing that there's 4 or 5 other world-class players that can, in essence, take your place?
Yeah, morning, mate. Yeah, I think, mate, like I said to Roger there, it's a great position to be in. I don't think there's ever an element of relaxing, no matter how much you play, no matter who's coming through the ranks, no matter what pressure you're under. You're always trying to learn and do your best at the end of the day. So whether there's 1 or 2 people pushing my place or whether there's 10 people pushing my place, those things won't change the way I approach my game. I just got to do what I got to do to perform. And if it happens, it happens. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. It's as simple as that, mate, to be honest.
No, and you look at the upcoming Big Bash as well. You're going over there. There's about 12, 13 other English players. Can you remember a time in your career or life even where the strength of the English cricket team, especially white ball, has been this strong before?
Yeah, well, it's a sign, isn't it, with the Big Bash, the amount of players that are going over there. The way we're going about our cricket is pretty impressive that it's getting such a good kind of national bit of love. So, no, I can't remember. I mean, it's been 5 years, I suppose. But no, not this amount of depth. Not having especially, I think it's kind of proved the point during this COVID time where you've had to pick bigger squads and larger travel groups. And you see those travel groups and we're training and every single one of them could be in your final 11, without doubt. So that's impressive.
I just want to ask you about what Rassie van der Dusen said yesterday, and he was saying that England might be a bit tired. They've played cricket all summer. Yes, a lot of the players played in the IPL. They might be a bit tired, whereas South Africa have had no cricket. They might be a bit fresh. I know you can't speak from the whole team personally, but is that the case? How are you feeling and how the squad feeling ahead of this series?
Rassie, what a funny guy. Yeah, mate. To be honest, there's a huge amount of fun going on here in the bubble. I think everyone's in great spirits. Everyone's playing golf. Everyone's training hard. Everyone's doing extra sessions, doing pool sessions. We're messing around. I mean, if there was an element of tiredness, I wouldn't have thought our bowlers would be doing lengths in the swimming pool. So I think we're in good spirits, mate. We're looking forward to it, and yeah, there's nothing to be tired about. We haven't started yet.
You mentioned the fast bowlers there, and just finally for me, you look at the fast bowlers in this series, you know, Jofra and Mark for you guys, Kagiso and Anrich Nortje for South Africa. As an opening batsman, how does it make you feel that you've got 90 plus miles per hour coming towards you on Friday?
Just need to know you've got to switch on, mate. You leave with a few broken bones. I think it's probably the best way to put it. You just got to make sure that your training's on point and you're ready to face a bit of fire. I think with T20s a little bit different. You can kind of adapt and change the way you play a little bit. But yeah, the extra pace is always fun to play against. We play against a lot of teams that have got some raw power and raw pace. So it'll be a good battle.
Cheers, Jason.
Cheers, Scott.
Okay, we're going to go with Richard Gibson from the Daily Mail.
That's better. Morning, Jason. Morning. Just to sort of, I want to ask you about the Big Bash. With a young family, I know you've obviously been before, but with a young family and having to sort of go into these bubbles, how much does that play a part in your decision on going to a tournament like that at the moment?
Yeah, it definitely does play a part, mate. It does. But the fact that I hadn't played much cricket during the summer, I chose to opt out of the IPL. It was a bit of a no-brainer for me and my family. I spoke to my wife about it, obviously, and she was kind of on the same wavelength. So as long as your family's on the same wavelength, then it's okay. But it's been quite an interesting situation, really, because obviously the Indian guys are out in Australia now, and a lot of them have got to take their families. And I've asked back and forth with Big Bash whether we can bring our families, and it's a firm no. So I think they've got a few more bargaining chips, the Indian team. But I think it is what it is. I think when I haven't played this much cricket, I think spending time away from home doing my job is just what it is.
Did the sort of international schedule with the sort of run now of 11 months into the World Cup, did that sort of play on your mind that you needed to be? I know you mentioned missing out on the pulling out the IPL, but is it been on your mind that you have to be playing these and being in regular nick in this year leading up to the tournament?
Yeah, I think this year leading up to it, definitely. I think if it was a far busier summer, if I didn't pick up a couple of injuries, it might have been a little bit different. However, now it's a big 12 months of me getting fully prepared with my batting, mentally and physically, in one of the best places I've been. So now it's just a case of getting my runs on the board in different areas. So yeah, just as much cricket as possible from now until the World Cup.
Do you feel that there's a similar feeling towards building towards this World Cup as the last one, or is it different because of the sporadic nature of 2020 series?
I think it is quite similar. I think we've got quite a good foundation. We talk a lot about kind of how we go about it, formulas, game scenarios. I think it has got quite a similar feel. It's not as kind of forced because obviously the T20 World Cup is, for us, the 50 over one was something we worked towards for 4 years, and it was quite clear plan. It was a clear plan no matter what. Whereas, like you're saying, the sporadic nature of T20, when we've got T20s, Test matches, ODIs, it's quite hard to fully focus. But now you've seen we're playing way more T20 games now to get ourselves prepared. So I think that's a good indicator that we are fully focused on it.
Do you feel, finally for me, it was touched upon before, but in this team, do you feel under pressure for your place because of the competition? Are you constantly feeling under pressure?
Yeah, I'll be lying. I'll be 100% be lying if you say you're not under pressure for your place. The amount of talent that's around us there's not one person. I mean, everyone's there getting pushed to the limits. So I think no one can rest on their laurels, mate. It's one of those amazing squads. But like I said before to Scott, I think I've got to do what I got to do, right? I've got to get myself physically fit, I've got to get myself mentally fit, and I've just got to score some runs. It's as simple as that, and then it'll look after itself.
Thank you.
Cheers, Richard. Will McPherson and then Chris Stocks, please.
Hi, Jason. Could I just ask about your form and how the sort of weird shortened summer was for you? Kind of didn't make too many runs for England. You had the injury, but then you did score quite a lot of runs in Surrey's run to the final. Did you feel that you sort of that kind of sorted you out a little bit after a strange summer? Yeah,
I mean, I finished the summer on a bit of a high. Obviously, losing the final wasn't great, but at least we were there. It was a tough summer. Injury plus a new environment that is completely alien to me and who I am as a person. So mentally was very tough. Physically, getting injured wasn't great. And then a couple of annoying dismissals against the Australians didn't really help the cause either. So it was one of those summers to just go, all right, cool, well, this is where you're at. Leave it, brush it aside. Don't go to the IPL. Sort yourself out and come back stronger. And I feel great for it, mate. It's actually a very distant memory now, the summer, which is quite a nice feeling.
Stocksy?
Hi, Jason.
Hi, mate.
Hi, mate. I just wonder, having tasted World Cup success last summer, does that make you guys hungrier to kind of get that feeling again, looking ahead to the tournament in India next year?
Yeah, I know what you're saying, because you get that taste in your mouth, don't you? I think it probably does play a huge factor in it. I think we know how intense these tournaments are. We've played in the World Cup final and T20s before. So we know the pathway to that is very physically and mentally demanding. So we know what we're in for. And now it's a case of just going out and having some fun. But I think that it probably does help a bit, yeah.
Do you think taking place in India is an advantage or less of an advantage for you guys compared to the one that would have been in Oz this year?
Either way, we would have just had to adapt, mate. I think playing a smaller stadiums, I guess, in India, which is a bit of fun for the batters. Not as much running. as in Australia. I think Australia you do a little bit more running. So I don't know, man. I think whatever we come up against, we've been pretty good at just kind of adapting to what situation we're in.
Cool. Thank you.
Do we have any more questions? Cool. Okay.
So I just wanted to ask, sorry, I know I've been on, I'll hold it a bit, but are you going to the full tournament straight from South Africa, Jason, all the way to the BBL, then all the way to the end? Is that?
Yeah. So I'll go there. We fly straight over there, but we've got 2 weeks quarantine as it stands. It'll be a nice Christmas day on Zoom.
Yeah. Because I think that's the day you come out, isn't it? From working out, that's the day your quarantine ends.
Yeah, I think so. I think maybe even Boxing Day. I think we got our first games the 27th or something. Yeah, something like that. But then I'm there for the duration. So.
No Boris special for you.
No.
Thanks.
I've got just a slightly flippant one, Danny, if that's all right.
Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
Jason, I'm sure last year I saw that you came out as a Spurs fan.
Top of the league, mate.
Yeah, well, I wonder if you saw Dele Alli's piece of fielding, how you assess that, and whether you're disappointed that they're now allowed to play cricket and you're not allowed to play football.
Yeah, I know, that's huge, isn't it? I think they're doing it for us. I think they're kind of rubbing it in a little bit. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend going that way with a hard ball. But yeah, that was pretty special, actually. The boys got around it quite a lot, didn't they?